Hello, welcome to Ecosystems, the remote learning edition. I have specifically designed this class with remote learning in mind, trying to adapt what was already one of the funnest, coolest classes in ACE science to the situation that we are all in. And really, there is not a better class that is more suited to this, because this class is really all about nature. And in the course of this class, you're going to learn a lot about the different types of environments and get to do some pretty cool stuff. So I just wanted to go over the syllabus with you and explain some things out there. So you're going to learn what is the environment, about the connections between different plants and animals, and the different non-living parts of their environments and how they depend on those for survival. Grading is the same as everything, as it always has been. You've got your Canvas assignments, which are worth points. I've minimized the number of Canvas assignments because I really want to focus on the major assignments for the remote learning, because I know that I think that we'll do better that way. But you still need to have, that being said, that means that these assignments that you are doing are even more important than they would normally be, because there's only a few of them. So I've already kind of diluted it down to just what you need to know. So make sure that you do all of the Canvas assignments. So what are the, how do you get the grade? Well, you need, as all of your classes are, ultimately it just boils down to pass-fail. But you can get a higher level of competency by doing better and more on the benchmarks. And at one point in time, that might actually work in your favor. They're talking about opting for allowing grades on your transcript instead of just pass-fail. So if you do well, you might be able to have that hard work show up on your transcript, which is going to give you a leg up on the people that just do pass-fail. So what are the benchmarks? The first part is all about understanding the parts of the environment and these different ecosystems and biomes. There are different environments out there. They have different levels of temperature and water access and types of soil, and that creates an environment that is better for certain plants and animals, and that's how ecosystems are formed. And you're going to learn about the different ecosystems that are out there in the world, but you're really going to specifically focus on Massachusetts ecosystems, and you're actually going to go outside. That's a big part of this class, is that you're actually going to go outside into nature. Another part of this is to explain how this sort of works. What is this interrelated, circle of life that you've heard talked about on The Lion King? So what are producers, consumers, decomposers? You're going to build a food web. You're going to learn about photosynthesis and model this transfer of energy that occurs between living things. We all need energy. That's a big part of life. You have to get energy, and we get it in different ways, and you're going to learn about that. And last but not least, we're going to analyze how environments change. Because they're all connected to each other, if you change one part, that changes the other parts. And so you're gonna do a case study of one such example. So these are the science skills benchmarks. You get them from the experiment that we are going to do in this class, which is with regards to photosynthesis. You're going to design your own experiment. I'll get to that in a moment. The common literacy benchmarks, these come from some of the work that you're going to do. This one right here comes from the final project, where you need to do some research. It's a case study, so you need to do some research, and you get this benchmark from essentially the number of sources that you use when you do that project. This one is about using media in a presentation, and that's the first benchmark assessment, which we will talk about right now. So for the first unit on ecosystems and biomes, there are a few assignments to just get you to understand what is biotic versus abiotic parts of an ecosystem, and how does that interplay work to create the various biomes, which are essentially like types of ecosystems. Like there's different kinds of forests, there's different kinds of deserts, and all of these different environments, which we call ecosystems. Then you are going to literally go out and explore a particular biome in your local ecology. You need to pick a natural place that is near you, and you need to go on an adventure. And while you're there, you're going to look for certain characteristics of that environment, take some pictures, and put it together in a slideshow that illustrates the characteristics of that biome. Let's say that you go to the Blue Hills Forest, which is a temperate forest ecosystem, and you're going to take some pictures of the trees and the animals and the different things that are there and illustrate the characteristics, like what does it mean to be a temperate forest. Maybe you're going to go to your local, maybe there's a pond or a lake that is near where you live. Maybe you're going to go to the ocean, right? I know that some of you like do some sailing or fishing or other things. So you get to pick your ecosystem, go explore, take some awesome pictures, and then put it together in this slideshow with some explanations that illustrates the characteristics of that biome. So that should be an awesome project where you're getting outside. You know, this, I was talking about how like this is the perfect course to have at the end of the year. It's going to be summertime, you guys. You're going to need to get out of your apartment anyway and go somewhere where there aren't a lot of people. So this is perfect, right? This is perfect. It's going to be awesome. The next one is about food webs. So food webs are essentially how different parts of the different organisms are connected through eating each other. Essentially, all animals need to eat other animals or eat plants. And that creates what's called a food web, which is a system of connected food chains. Where the plants are always on the bottom, and then something eats them, and then something eats that, and you know the big fish eats the little fish. So you're going to do this for your project. You can either just build a traditional food web. You can take that same ecosystem that you use from the first unit and just build a food web that shows the connections of that, so you can build on that first project. Or what a lot of students do is, instead of doing it that way, they do the traditional food project, where they take a meal that is part of their either family heritage or some sort of ethnic cuisine that they really like. And the thing is that most foods of places are based in the ecosystems of that place. There's a reason why tacos come from Central America. It's because that's where corn is from, and beans. And they had the ingredients to make tacos. The people in the Arctic could never have invented tacos because they don't have the ingredients growing in their ecosystem. So this project, you can do a more traditional approach where you just build a food web about an ecosystem, or you can do sort of a more creative approach where you cook dinner for your family and then do a breakdown of how all of these different foods, these different ingredients that are in the food that you made, are part of the food web of the place where that particular cuisine is from. So again, this should be an awesome project. You're either going to build on your adventure, or you're going to learn a little bit about cooking and tie that in with ecology. The next unit has been highly adapted. We used to do a series of formal experiments for this one, but obviously we can't do that. So instead, what I want you to do is grow a garden. You're going to grow some plants to illustrate how energy is transferred through photosynthesis. And you design your own experiment. You get to choose your plants. I would highly advise actually having a garden, but you know, that might not be a realistic expectation for some of you. For some of you, it might just be that you have 2 houseplants that you grow. And essentially, the experiment is pretty simple. You provide them both with the same growing conditions, except one of them you give more light than the other one, because the whole point is to see photosynthesis in action. And you just track their progress over the course of a couple of weeks, so that you can really see we all know already that plants need light, but science, you need evidence in order to really make assertions. So you're gonna look at that yourself. You're gonna either grow a garden or you're gonna get some house plants to brighten up your apartment. Again, you see, I'm like trying to think of things that fit with summer and things that you can do at home. So this should be a cool project too. And basically, at the end, you just look at your data. How much did this plant grow versus that plant? How does it prove that photosynthesis is how plants get their food? There's another part to this one, and this one's an art project. So there's some assignments that you look at around what are called trophic levels, which is essentially just like the amount of plants and animals at each level of the ecosystem. And you're going to build me a 3D model, which is really just I'll talk about this more when you get there. So this is an art project where you just model how the amount of different plants and animals changes as you move up the food chain. Last but not least, you're going to research a particular case study about either an extinction or an invasive species, and just draw the chain of cause and effect of like this species went extinct. Why? And you're going to draw it back to the ultimate cause of why something went extinct. Or you can choose to go the other direction. Maybe a new species is introduced into an area. And how did that affect the local ecosystem? So you can draw it forward. Species was introduced. That caused this to happen, which caused this to happen, which caused this to happen. So you do a little research about sort of this interconnectedness. So this one is a research project. This is an art project. This is either and then this is gardening. This is either cooking food or an art project, and then this is an outside adventure. So this class is going to be great. You do still need to do work, right? Like just because something is awesome doesn't mean that it's no work. But I want you to get excited about doing this work, because this is going to be really cool. And we've been trying, and I tried really hard to think creatively about how to adapt this class so that it would be fun and interesting and doable in a remote learning environment. So that is that. Please, of course, let me know if you have any questions about any of this stuff. Mr. Ben signing off.